Hello, and this is the completion of the 22nd day of July 2018. My name is Derek. Welcome to the Money Charts channel. Like always, all bets, all wagers, all trades of the like is within your own risk, own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. We'll look at coins against the dollar, and starting off with Bitcoin after a few days going sideways, up at the upper end of its range. However, decent size green candle. On the 3-hour time frame I was mentioning, showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs, and it continued to do so amongst in here. Had a decent sized red candle move down to the 18 average lows, and has followed up with a beautiful green candle. However, the way I look at it, if I see a situation of like 9 or so periods, strength amongst 18, a red candle of the like, and a green candle twice the size of it, that's pretty good. So I think it's a very bullish setup. I'm thinking there's a good chance I wake up and I'm seeing this at or close to 8,000 maybe. And on the 15-minute time frame, we can see that move. The big selling quickly, and then up she goes on pretty decent volume. Consecutive green candles up, of course, on this very short-term time frame. So nice looking setup there. Bitcoin Cash at 823, and it's showing decent strength after having a move up to the, establishing resistance, coming back to support, and now it looks like it's attempting to do stage number 4 in reversal of trends. That is a break level of resistance, and it's got to get up to about 880 or so. But I do like, after seeing how this declining average, and a little bit happening here, declining further, going sideways, establishing resistance, that's the 18 is rising now, that this does seem as if this is ready to revert the trend, at least on a break of the 885 or so. So be it. It will be in such a bull market, as I will be looking at. Roughly a little over 912, 915 is the clear break of resistance as I see it. Ethereum, you could say, is on stage number 2, given that it is had the band flatten out, or stage 3, band flatten out, stage 2, established resistance stage. So it's just correcting within the band. Definitely a laggard against Bitcoin. But as we look into the movement of the trend since the market went from up, neutral, to declining, there's the declining, and, well, it's basically been flat for this entire time. So it's done more of the correctionary move, and there's a decent chance that if Bitcoin does in fact revert trend and has significant gains, then it's just going to be a matter of time before this breaks resistance, and possibly even as it gets going later outperform Bitcoin, where you'd see days where maybe Bitcoin is up 8% and Ethereum might be up 12% or some other larger number. Not guaranteed, but just something to keep in mind. Within the market on Dash, I like how this is looking in here, as it's been having the level of resistance come up here and showing a little bit of strength amongst the 18 average of highs for about 4 days. ZEC, as well as it established this level of resistance up near 230, has now spent about 4 days, 3 days and change, maybe we'll say 3, correcting itself within this newly rising 18. As just like all these markets, there's your down move, there we are going sideways, and there we are with the attempt on the newly rising 18 average. So it looks like definitely the bulls are doing a much better, has much more momentum within it. And it wouldn't surprise me if this thing get going as well. Litecoin in the same similar spot as well. Obviously, it had the big decline. When you look at the nature of the situation, going from 1861 down to 72, that's well over 60%. Where Bitcoin lost less than 50%, going from 10,000 down to about 6. Throwing that aside, or just ignoring that more than anything, the downtrend, there's the sideways consolidation that it's had for a while. You have this nice little move that came down, and now it's in the correctionary phase. We can see it's looking to leave it within the nice green candle up to 85 right now. On its single hour time frame, it has obviously gotten past this level of resistance noticeably, and it also, well, that's just what it's done. And after we do that, I'm going to be looking for the price action to probably continue on higher, at least on the short run, which is the next few hours to come up to into the 87. But as we move into the situation here, we're going to have another level of resistance from the previous highs between 89 and 94, and then up to even the psychological 100. But I'd have to think that it can make a move, like one decent sized day or so, to even get up to the 90-ish or so area to retest amongst these highs. And really, it's more of an extension of this more longer term sideways range it'd be making a move towards. But if it can get out above that, then I'm looking at next resistance at the area of around 110 to 115-ish area. Just like I figured 100 wasn't going to be much support on the way down, I'm going to say the same thing on the way up, breaking out above here as we stand. That if we see this thing breaking nicely past 95, 96, I think this thing is just going to steamroll fast up to, again, the 110, 115 area, which is the previous major level of support that was played on 3 different occasions amongst the February, April, and June lows. NEO in at 34. Since it made its late June lows and rallied up to this point, it hasn't taken that high out. And I don't look at this as a failed breakout or a failed attempt to make it to that level because it made a lower high. Close enough. The bottom line is, so far, it's held the previous level of support. So from the move from point low to point high, what has it done? Well, it has stayed moving sideways. And when we look at this shorter term, like a lot of these coins, we can see the quick move down and then the rise, but a short-term failed breakdown is looking into play, because that's when you break a key area of support, like this was key because it was hit 3 times, have a noticeably significant break lower, and it could have just bottomed here and that would have still been noticeable, and it did twice that level. And then quickly managed to come back to the neckline and then get above it and go back to its previous congestion area. And the congestion area is, of course, in here. So that's what it's done. So I wouldn't be surprised if this baby gets going into the Monday session. Ethereum Classic on the same 15-minute time frame, similar kind of move. They're all going up together. Amongst the daily chart, it does a little bit of a different story compared to the rest of the coins. Somewhat similar, but much different in its pattern. It bottomed in the second week of June compared to end of the month, start of July, which a lot of the other ones did so. But since that bottom, it has successfully been making higher lows. It had the first set of higher lows at the end of June. Then it came back, it retested, barely broke the previous highs, but to me that's a matching highs. It's now a 3 times hit resistance in at around 17.5, upwards to about 18 and 7/9. And it's still managing to hang on at this stage, and yeah, breaking above that resistance. I'd be expecting a nice decent move, at least to about the 21 to 22 area, if not even to its previous high near 25. Amongst EOS, it's at $8.12. 1/8 would be the fraction, but going on its way down, it's a little bit in the sideways mechanism. Not as strong as some of the other coins, but it has shown a double bottom situation where you have 2 U or 2 V-shaped formations, with the first one coming in here, the second one coming as well. It hasn't gotten past the neckline, so it may have to develop a cup and handle, and that would be an interesting pattern if it goes up from here, because you'd end up having the strength that a double bottom brings, which is merely the 2 U's or 2 V's, and normally it would just have a nice little breakout from here at this stage, but if it makes another bottom with the higher low, that's a strong setup as well. QTUM, it's going down on the 18 average, but pretty much going sideways. There is a 4 times hit bottom at about 7.5. It still has yet to been able to hold and stay above the 18 average. So with the resistance in which this has entangled, and it's a big level of resistance, so that's worth noting, that getting above significantly well over 9, but even realistically getting closer to 10, that this thing has the potential to fill some of this empty space in here, and the volatility here is supreme. well, not so, it's massive. It's a lot bigger than like Bitcoin and Ethereum and such, but going from 24 down to 7.5. And even before, this thing was closer to 100 and down to about $8. So when this thing goes down and Bitcoin goes down, because they're all going up and down together, all the main coins, this is more sick in the sense of when the stock market has when everything goes up in stocks, or everything goes down in stocks, you don't usually see everything going up in harmony and down in harmony together like we are seeing in such a case. And when one goes up, it's going to go up and down within its volatility. And we can see that this one has, of course, a much larger amount of such. So you see at an exit period of time, if Bitcoin is going to increase, say, 33%, there might be a good chance that this could at least 2x on this side. Looking next at Ripple against the US dollar, like a lot of the other ones, down and been going sideways. There's always the possible note of this failed breakout in here. Or again, this could end up being a little bit of a laggard too. There's always the potential that some of these coins may not go up and down together within them. However, this market is at a major long-term perspective as, no, not really. It's just, it's back down to its, this is at a key level of support more than anything. And like Bitcoin, ever since the top, which again, you talk about big volatility, maybe not as big as that previous one, but $3 down to 50 cents. But since then, there has been no significant highs until it managed to come up to about $1.01. Then it has another high at around 92 cents. And I guess we can count this one as well at about 67. So if it gets ready to go, breaking past its short-term resistance in here, I think the best way of analyzing this might not be the greatest of coins in comparison, but it sure as heck is volatile, and there's a decent chance that it's going to follow decent Bitcoin moves up and down. So if it follows a Bitcoin up move, then filling in some of this gap space would not be that much of a surprise. And this will be the second final one, Lumen, Stellar Lumen. And it's been very stellar. Cardano will be the final one, trading in at 29 cents. What do we see on this one? Well, it had a double bottom pattern. The two UV shape formations, well, yeah, well, since it bottomed in there, it had an amazing one higher from the 22 cent neckline up to about the 33 cent neckline, 50% move against the dollar. And then it comes back to the 18 highs and is looking to be breaking out from this moment as we speak on the 1 hour time frame. It's been a little bit choppy since it reached its top on July 18th. We could talk about the bull flag, sort of like Bitcoin has had. And at any time this is ready to go, wouldn't surprise me given where it's standing that it could do it now. It's more favorable to do it now than any other random spot given its market dynamics right now. And as far as Cardano is concerned, the way I look at it is stage 1, band flatten out, there's some resistance, there's coming back, and it looks like it might be ready to go. Same sort of deal here with like a double bottom type pattern. Getting above the resistance at about 19, little under 20 cents. Should be able to make a move up to about the 23, 24 cent mark. Meet up with the resistance from the June highs and the May support levels. And this one here, also super volatile. This thing was $1.30 or so amongst its highs at the start of the year. And then it proceeded to sell off more than 90% of its value down to the 12 cent handle. Okay, so if this thing is going to be ready to go, you know the potential for much larger gains, but also with the risk reward, you get much bigger losses on downturns with these types of coins. So that comes within the risk reward venture. And that will be it for this video. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great week. Bye-bye.